Okay, the latest news that I just saw come across my feed is that the energy center for what we call the 3D matrix, which is basically it's the negative energy that is on planet Earth. What's the negative energy? It has everything to do with control, everything to do with restricting your freedoms. And this particular post just came up just now. And it said, did anybody else notice that the center of all this energy, this negative energy, has moved from New York City to Toronto, Canada? So in Toronto, what have we got in Toronto? And why is it moving there? I don't know. But this was somebody who's an empath. That's somebody who feels energy. And they get this. So can you trust it? Yeah, if someone is an empath and they're telling you that they're feeling movements of earth energy, um, you can trust it. And this is somebody that's like that, somebody who's into energy lines, ley lines. And that's what they're feeling, that it's the center of all of this control structure is moving from New York energetically to Toronto. Why Toronto? Well, in my previous video, I talked about how the governor of Ontario, he's really called a premier, but he's the governor of Ontario and he's screwing up badly. The man is totally incompetent and the shit is going to hit the fan because Mr. Incompetent, Doug Ford, is really proceeding into stupidity. The man has had stupid decree after stupid decree. The main stupid decree that I always laugh at is the idea that reducing bar hours is going to stop COVID-19 transmission. Instead of 1 o'clock in the morning closing the bar at 11, or if it's getting bad, moving the bar closing hour to 9 o'clock at nighttime. And I keep looking at Doug Ford and saying, you stupid fat fuck. If you really think that the bars are where you're getting super spreader incidents and it's a huge risk, close the motherfuckers completely. But, playing with bar hours is the sign of an incompetent boob. And that's what Doug Ford is. And he's simply issuing decrees based upon, I don't know, his unappointed advisors that are telling him to do stupid things. He's a stupid man, and I think he's got an alcohol problem. Because why does this keep coming up, playing with the bar hours? It sounds like an alcoholic. An alcoholic who knows they're an alcoholic and that they're got a major drinking problem. So they're playing the game, and the game they're playing is, I'm just going to cut down on my drinking. Right? That's an alcoholic. I'm just going to cut down. I'll be fine. I'm just going to cut down. So that's what he's doing with the bar hours. He's looking at himself as an alcoholic and saying, you used to drink all night long after the bar, and now, we're going to close the bar early at 9, and then you can slow down and have, a couple more drinks between 9 and 10, and a couple more drinks between 10 and 11 at home or at your friend's place. He's a total alcoholic. This is an alcoholic. And that's what you're seeing for public policy because he thinks he is the province of Ontario. He thinks he is Ontario, and he thinks everyone in Ontario is an alcoholic. They're not. But these are, you can just see what's going on in his mind, doing, what a good alcoholic does. But he's the governor of the province. And so he's imposing these alcoholic restrictions on all kinds of people, millions of people. So that is one of the reasons why the center of the 3D matrix, this restriction energy, is moving to Toronto. Doug the fuck Ford. And that's pretty bad because given the fact that these democratic states, I mean, if they're not the center of restrictions and it's moving to Canada, it's kooky. It's really kooky. But Canada is a really different place than the USA. Toronto is a really different place than the rest of North America. It has got unbelievable amounts of immigrants from all over the world. It's a little bit of all of planet Earth is in Toronto. It's unbelievable. It's simply, in the olden days they called Toronto the Good, and it was really, really white and conservative, and that's all gone. You've got immigrants from everywhere, and they've got their own cultures, and I don't think they get along very well. Mostly, it's not really racist or it's not culture. It's mostly because there's no room in Toronto, and they keep pouring into Toronto with promises of good jobs and freedom. And they get to Toronto, and there's no jobs. The apartments are out of reach. The houses are astronomically expensive. So people go who have sold everything in the old country to move to Canada find out they got fucked. They were lied to by the people who told them about Toronto, and they're angry. And then you coop them up in little tiny apartments with 8 people to a 2-bedroom apartment. They're all cooped up and they got to wear the goddamn mask. And then they learn, our grocery store has been locked down and you're going to have to go. How the hell are you going to do all this? The problem in Toronto is multiplicity of trouble, all caused by great stupidity. A lot of the stupidity has come from Canadian federal governments, the national governments, because their immigration policies are unrealistic. There is no room in Toronto for mass migration from other places. There's no room in Vancouver for mass migration from other places. So 2 of the major cities of Canada, and what else are you going to look at? There's no room in the Alberta cities. Calgary and Edmonton, there's no room. There's no more space. They're enormous spread out cities. It's very expensive. And so what do we have? We got the French Montreal. What's going to happen in Montreal? I don't know what's going to happen in Montreal. It's French and I'm not. So it's like me trying to tell you what's going to go on, and I don't know. I haven't been there for so long. I can't tell you. But they do have more room than Toronto and Vancouver. But there's nowhere else to go in Canada. There's no other cities that have got existing pre-built apartments for people to move into. And the Trudeau government is like, open up the doors and let everybody from all over the planet come and tell them, go to Vancouver or go to Toronto. There's no flippin' way that these people are ever going to fit in these cities. So Justin Trudeau and the governments before him, it's not just him, conservative and liberal, they are always about more people coming to Canada, and there's no fucking place to put them. It looks like a big country on paper, but it's all far north, where it's frozen tundra. No one's going to live way the fuck up there. So you're going to this little sliver of land along the US border. And that's what Vancouver rubs up against. It's got the sea to the west, it's got the USA to the south, and to the north it's the sea, and to the east it's the mountains. There's no more fucking room for any more fucking people. It's not racism. It's not saying you can't come because of the color. It's simply, you shouldn't be coming because there's no fucking room. And you get here and there's no fucking pay that's going to get you into the housing market. So you're going to be moved. You're going to be moved to the permanent underclass. You're going to have your minimum wage job working at the 7-Eleven or the Circle K or the Walmart. And you're going to be like, you're going to go, what the fuck's going on? What am I going to do? What the fuck's going on? What am I going to do? I spent all this effort and all this money, my life savings to come to Canada, and I'm stuck here. I'm stuck here. I'm going to be a minimum wage slave. And winter's coming, and I've got these fucking mask issues. I've got no room in my apartment. I'm going crazy. I'm not really allowed to go out anywhere to get away from cabin fever in my house. The pressure cooker is on in the big cities of Canada, and you're going to see horrible things happening. Horrible things happening because of the incompetence of the government. And who put these idiots in power? Well, Canadians had no choice. They had to make a choice, and it was the same shit. Doesn't matter who you vote for. So, I mean, you can blame the Canadian voter, but they had no choice. There's no difference between the parties. They're all the same stupid shit. And the Canadians are, I think most of them are asleep. I think Canadians are asleep to the massive social unrest that is going. It's like a powder keg. It's a powder keg, and Canadians are sleeping with powder kegs in their bedrooms. It's everywhere. People are the pressure cooker, and they're just not awake. I've been trying to wake people up for years to how fucked things are in this country. It's so fucked, it's unbelievable. And people are walking around eyes wide shut because, they've got everything they need. They're living in their gated communities. Not really. They're living in their houses, but they got their houses and they got their job and they're making ends meet and they got no time to listen to tin hat people like me. But once all this shit hits the fan and some of these powder kegs start blowing up, people are going to start looking around and saying, where are those tin hat people? And I'm going to go, I'm right over here, told you so.